Welcome back, guys. It's Sujal here. It's been a while since my last video, but kind of actually excited for the next couple of days. I'm going to be making a video about this and reviewing it. On top of that, I actually just got my Apple Watch, so I want to unbox it as well. But today I actually have the Razer Thunderbolt dock. I actually found the time to actually make a video about it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I actually got this dock from work. They actually ordered it for me and they were able to ship it within a couple of days. So I've been using this for about a month now. Just know that, at least for my work's sake, they ordered it from Amazon. So they put their shipping information, like all their sticky notes, on the box itself. So if you're actually ordering it for personal use, try to find whether it's Amazon or any other vendor to see if you can actually put it in another box. That way, if it does ship like this and someone was about to steal your package, whatever, they might just Google it, be like, hey, what is this? And then they look at the price, it's like, ooh, it's a worthy product. So just be careful about that because, yeah, the packaging is okay. I'm not a big fan of it because it's a cardboard box. It just looks like any other cardboard box that they just printed on it. It's not like, how Apple has their own packaging style. Just be careful like that. But without further ado, this is the box itself. They have like the writing and like their logos. And then on the sides, it's just pretty much printed text, nothing really crazy. In the back, there's all the, the weight, the dimensions, what's inside the box, any other trademarks, and all that stuff. Without further ado, let's actually unbox it. You'll see the quick start guide, all the warranty information. It's not a big package, but it's pretty self-explanatory. They also talk about like their Synaptic software where you can control like the whole RGB nonsense. Just know that if you're a Mac user, unfortunately there's no support for Mac in terms of how to turn it off or how to change the colors. All it does is just that it just cycles through a gradient of colors. It might get a little bit annoying because there's no way to turn it off, but I know it sucks, but it's a pretty good dock for Macs and I kind of like the lighting effect as well. So in this video, I actually have some of the parts in opposite order. So over here would be the prong to connect to the wall, the Thunderbolt cable, and the power brick. However, I couldn't fit it back where it was, how it first came in the box. Kind of just switched it. Let's just actually get to the unboxing itself. So over here is the dock itself. Pretty lightweight. I think it's like aluminum. Not too sure what type of aluminum. Over here is where I put the Thunderbolt dock. The Thunderbolt cable. And over here is where I put the power brick itself. I couldn't fit the prong itself where it connects to the outlet, the piece with the cable that goes into the outlet. I just left it outside. It's kind of self-explanatory. Depending on where you are, you might have different like outlets anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But that's pretty much it in terms of the box. You get your power brick, the cable, the dock itself. Just know that this is a 135 watt power adapter. I'm kind of disappointed. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more. I would wish it was like 150 or more, but apparently the dock does up to 90 watts of power delivery. We'll talk about it more, but this is the unboxing experience. If you want to stay for a little bit longer, I'll talk about the comparisons between a CalDigit dock and what's my final takeaway of this dock in general. So I actually wanted to have like a nice little baseline of what to expect of the dock itself. Sorry for any reflections. The aluminum is kind of very shiny, but I wanted to show you like what's around the dock itself. In the front is you actually have the Thunderbolt in port where you actually connect it to your Mac or any other Razer device or any Thunderbolt cable device. You have a headphone jack and then you have an SD card reader in the front. In the back, it's pretty limited in terms of I/O. In the back, there's the power in on the left side. Just trying to see if I can focus. There we go. So you got the TC power in. You have 3 downstream of Thunderbolt 4 ports, 1 Ethernet cable, and 1 Ethernet port and 3 USB 3.0s. Now, my first impressions in terms of the number of ports, I'm kind of disappointed. One, because I'm not a big fan of front style Thunderbolt docks. I wish it was more in the back. I do believe they have enough space, or they could have made it a little bit longer and kind of put the link port in the back, because you'll see in a minute how it looks when I do connect it to my computer. I do wish there was at least like a USB-A in the front. I noticed that 3 USB-A ports is kind of limited. I know certain other docks might have 4 or 5, or at least like a couple of USB A's and a lot more USB Type C's. Just know in the back, they're all Thunderbolt for downstream ports. So if you really wanted, you can get another adapter for more USB A's, but at that point, you're just putting a dock instead of another dock, and it gets a little bit more hectic. What also I would have liked is that they put three USB A's. They could have easily put like another USB A, maybe a 2.0 for like a mouse or something. I'm assuming it's because the cable, like their like whatever protocol they're using, probably didn't have enough bandwidth over Thunderbolt 4. That's my guess. I don't believe it, but for $329, it's kind of a big pill to swallow, especially if it's very limited in terms of I/O. And then on the bottom, you have like your serial number, the model itself, and then around the edges is you have the RGB logo, the RGB strip. So I actually connected the dock to my laptop. Just a nice little quirk that it has. I think it's a positive quirk. When you actually do connect it and it actually makes the connection, the lights turn off. And then when you disconnect the cable, whether it's from the dock or whether it's from the computer, the lights turn off. So that's a nice little cool trick to know whether your computer is not working or if the dock's not working. As you can see, it's just going through a gradient. It's on my Mac. Even though I have Windows on it right now, I can change it, but just know that if you're a Mac user, there's no way to turn it off. There's no button like that on the dock itself. There's no software, like there's no Synaptic software to actually change it. It's only on Windows. So any of like the newer Macs, whether it's M1 related, you can't really put Windows on it. So if you're thinking about this in a work environment, I would probably either stay away depending on what type of work environment you're in. At least for my work, they actually don't mind it. They actually find a nice little conversation starter. Never used it at work. I have this dock at work as well. Never used it in my entire life. It has an SD card. It's in the front, but it's UHS 2. It has a headphone and a microphone. In and out, there's just two different ports. Depending on what kind of dock you have, or depending on a laptop, you might have two separate, like a microphone in and headphone in, depending on the situation. If you need it, like if you need a separate channel, it's there. Other than that, you're fine. But what's also interesting, it has USB Cs. So now it has one USB C that's 10 gigabits. So that's Gen 3.2, I believe. So, no, excuse me, 3.1 Gen 2, which is more capable of higher data transfer. So if you have like a flash drive or like a NVMe drive, you can just connect it to that port. It has a regular USB 3.1 Gen 1. So pretty much it just uses a USB A protocol, but it converts into a USB C. So that's pretty cool. And then as for connectivity, it does on the back side has Thunderbolt 3, where it's labeled computer. So, and then total, it has 15 ports, 16 if you count the power. Now let's actually look at the Razer dock. How many USB A ports? Let's change that for you guys. Well, 3 display connections. So there's no specific display connections. You're basically forced to use USB-C downstream. So you would need like USB-C to display, HDMI, whatever you want. These are going to run off of Thunderbolt 4 connections. Now, this is a little bit cooler because if you really wanted to, if your monitor supports Thunderbolt, you can just connect it right from there. So it's a USB-C protocol to another USB-C protocol. But it makes the cabling more easier. In the future, if we actually finally go the interface type of USB-C, like how it's just how you see here, then it works out perfectly fine. Because at least for here, in the Razer dock, in the CalDigit dock, say for example you get two monitors and all of a sudden they don't support DisplayPort. Well, you're kind of lucked out there. You would need to use an adapter or something because your monitor doesn't have DisplayPort. Next we have is Ethernet. It's the same thing, it's gigabit Ethernet, so I'm just gonna write yes. It has no digital audio or optical cable, so I'm just write NA. SD card, I believe it's USH2. I will fix it in post if I'm wrong. And then it just uses a combo, so I'm gonna write combo. So total ports, it's about 10, I believe. Let's just count again. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then to connect, it's front USB-C looking port to connect to computer. And now that's pretty much the comparison. If you really took out the time and nitpick on what ports you want, then you might know that the CalDigit might have more ports growing for you, especially if you have a lot more USB-A ports, and then if you need a lot more USB-C ports compared to this. But then at the same time, if you look at what Razer's offering, so their premise is that, well, the first two USB Thunderbolt ports, downstream ports, will be used for your dual display, but then you have another Thunderbolt 4 capable port for high-speed data transfer or something even better that you might not need. Now, in my scenario, I use a microphone, a mouse, and a webcam, and that's pretty much it. But for you guys, you might need another USB-A port for, I don't know, a flash drive, or if you want to connect some RGB strips that run over USB-A, you might need that. So, but if you look at the pricing between the two, MSRP for this one goes for about $270 pre-tax. This goes for about $330 or $320 if you go white. That's about a $40 to $60, $50 to $60 difference in price. Now, one thing to know, CalDigit's Thunderbolt 3, Razer's Thunderbolt 4. It's not really big or a fair comparison between them because one's Thunderbolt 3 and one's Thunderbolt 4. But the CalDigit is a reigning champ in terms of any dock that I seen online for in terms of reviews. Everyone recommended the TS3 Plus dock. But do I recommend this Razer dock? Well, for me, I would wish to have more ports, but knowing my edge cases, this dock hasn't been giving me any problems. My problems rely on the charging capability. So I don't know why, even though it's 87 watt of power delivery and this is 90 watt power delivery, there was time where my battery did drain. That's a weird case on my Mac. That was just a weird case. That's not a big factor. Another thing, I'm a big fan of design and aesthetics. So if you have a nice little desk setup going on and you don't like the look of this, then you may be tempted to get the Razer dock. Or how about, well, you're limited to a display-port and then you need to get something else for your other monitor if you're using dual setup. So if your monitors don't support DisplayPort and they both support HDMI only, well, you'll need to convert this into a dual dual HDMI output. And what I noticed is that DisplayPort to HDMI cables have been very finicky in terms of monitor support. And then when I do plug in my mouse interface and within one of these ports, it makes a very big lag, like a delay on how I drag my mouse from one end of the screen to the other end of the screen. Now these are all the nitpicks that I have, but would I really pay the extra $60 for a dock that has less ports, just a better design, and Thunderbolt 4 as a consumer? No. But since I got it for free from work, hell yeah. I don't know. I think it's a good dock, but the price really might defer people from getting it. And that's been it. This is my comparison. This is my overall take of the Razer dock. It's really nice. It looks nice when it glows in the dark and has all the effects. But I would probably wait to see if CalDigit has a nice little Thunderbolt 4 or a TS4 Plus coming out that may put a run to Razer's and our terrain with Thunderbolt 4 docks. If they can do it for a cheaper price, I would go with CalDigit if they do Thunderbolt 4. But if you really, really want Thunderbolt 4 and a nice looking dock, go Razer. That's been it. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions or if I did make a mistake, leave a comment down below. I will try to fix it and I will try to answer as many questions as you might have, and I'll do my best. Stay safe. Have a good one. Cheers.